nation stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
At this time, could we have a roll call, please? Could we have a roll call, please?
Chairman Lynch,
Present.
Commissioner Remington, Commissioner Malecki, Commissioner Bartels, and Alderwoman Henneman. And we have Alderwoman Henneman. And we have Kevin Schluter,
Here.
Dale Borchert,
Here.
and Glenn Morrow's present.
Fantastic. At this time, are there any citizens who would like to make a comment? And the citizen comment period is closed. Could we have the approval of the minutes from May 9th of 2022?
I move approval of the minutes.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? The ayes have it. Taking a look at the agenda to new business, and we will take a look at letter D. Request by the City of Franklin resident Sue Lance for maintenance and amenities related to
Mr.
pickleball.
Chairman,
Oh, sorry. Yes, sir.
you might want to start with A, appointment of secretary.
Oh, sure. Excellent. We'll start with A, appointment of a secretary. Appointment of a secretary by the chairperson. Is there anybody who'd be interested in volunteering? No?
Look at those notes Mr. Bartels is taking.
Should I do both? What?
I
Should I do both? What?
I can be the secretary.
I can do it. Yes.
Oh, well, thank you. We have A.
You sure? Yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure you'd be much better than me.
I believe we need to find a member too as well, correct? Aren't we short one?
there's two vacancies.
Two?
We have 2 vacancies.
I think we're short too.
I'll have to go recruiting at Pick and Save.
I'll volunteer until you find a new members,
Fantastic. Well, thank you.
and then just appoint it right away.
Excellent.
So you should vote.
Could we have a vote on that? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Anybody opposed? The ayes have it.
Should I make a vote?
Sure.
All right. We will jump ahead to letter D. Request by City of Franklin resident Sue Lance for maintenance and amenities related to pickleball and information about the long-term plans for pickleball. Sue Lance for maintenance and amenities related to pickleball and information about the long-term plans for pickleball in the city. How you doing?
Oh, okay. Am I supposed to come here?
Sure.
Yeah, I had a few more things on there too, but, yeah, I was just kind of more things on there too, but, yeah, I was just kind of wondering what are the plans? The courts are really deteriorating, and are they going to be resurfaced, or are we getting new ones? What's happening with them?
Well, I believe when Pleasant View gets as far as long-term maintenance of the current court, are you talking about at Lions Legend?
2.
Sure. I believe the long-term plan, we were looking to have things resurfaced in the next couple of years.
So is puts like a new layer on, what is that?
Go ahead, Glenn.
So last year we had a gentleman, expert in tennis courts and pickleball courts, if you will, came in and he did an evaluation on all of our courts, gave us his opinion of what should be done each one. We brought the recommendations back to the Parks Commission to fix them right. Quite honestly, we just can't get them in our budget. We tried. Staff put 1 or 2, I forget how many we put in our budget last year. It did not make the official budget for this year. It did not make the official budget for this year. In fact, about a week ago, we had a gentleman came in and talked about there's a fabric that can be put down and asphalt over it. So it's the intention is to keep the cracks from coming back through. If we were to go out and just put asphalt on it now, so it's not a cheap issue, but it's a lot cheaper than doing what really needs to be done. So quite honestly, unless we can find somewhere in our budget in 2023 to fix them right, we're going to Band-Aid them best we can.
And is, like, night, actually, I don't know which city it is, that they were resurfacing 2 courts for $9,000. Is that, like, way off?
Way off.
So that sounds way off, and
Okay.
it sounds like they're just really putting down asphalt on top of it. And
Okay.
that's the situation where we're concerned that, we could do that, but within a year or 2 years, you're going to see those cracks right back through,
Okay.
and you'll see the same thing. So we can throw our money away on Band-Aids like that, or we can. I think we've got a pretty good. It's not the most ideal, but it's a lot better than nothing.
So what is it, about 20,000 a court?
Than nothing.
So what is it, about 20,000 a court? What, no,
If you're looking for a brand new court
not brand new, I'm talking resurface.
we don't want to resurface the courts.
You don't want to resurface,
No,
you want to
that-
do brand new
A
courts?
resurface is a Band-Aid, and it'll last
Oh,
you.
I thought with this barrier, you were thinking of
Why-
resurfacing.
So I haven't talked with the Parks Commission, but that's, like I said, a week ago, we met with a rep, if you will, that has this product, and we're going to price that. So we don't have a price yet, but it's significantly cheaper, but it's not as good as completely tearing them out and fixing the drainage issues that caused all the problems. Matter of money.
So we don't know if 2023 will have it in the budget or not.
We'll put something in the budget, staff recommendation budget, but then the mayor, part of his issues is he creates a balanced budget, and then common council has their responsibility. Sometimes they'll put things back in, but they have to take other things out of the budget each year.
Okay. So really, until resurface, there's not really anything that fixing cracks or
We
anything?
really, other
Okay.
than
Okay.
other than filling the voids to keep people from tripping on them, which is even tough to do.
Yeah,
Um,
you know, I'll have to say that the tennis court actually seems worse than the pickleball. Well, I'll have to say that the tennis court actually seems worse than the pickleball court over there. I'm talking Lions too. They got some bad cracks over there, but it seems worse. But
I know Jack Workman is probably our worst.
which one?
Jack Workman?
Oh. Okay. Oh. Okay.
Well, that's closed, isn't it?
I thought we had closed that last
I
year
thought
for
we
safety
closed it
issues.
because it was so bad.
Last year we had closed it. You opened it up this year, didn't you? Everything's open, yeah. Last year we had closed for
I'd like to remind the parks to record.
Yeah.
We're recording the meeting.
Yes. As a frame of reference, so if I remember correctly, when you brought that evaluation report of all the tennis courts to us last year, weren't we at that time looking at about $150,000 to
An absolute minimum, yeah.
at an absolute minimum
And some were,
Per tennis court.
per tennis court?
and some were like 400,000. It's just, love to afford it, but we just can't.
Yeah.
And that was pre-pandemic pricing.
Correct,
Pre
Pandemic pricing.
correct.
oil hike pricing.
Yeah.
So,
So
Okay.
to get 2 pickleball courts completely rebuilt at a minimum without fencing, you're probably looking at $200,000 right now.
2 or 4?
2.
2 or 4?
2. So for one tennis court, it's about $200,000. So if you're looking for 4, you're looking at probably $400,000 to have it
So,
redone.
because the tennis court can do 4 pickleball courts. 4 courts are, can be, so 200, it's one tennis
One
court.
tennis court is $200,000,
Okay,
roughly.
okay.
Excellent. And then we will, while you're here, we'll take a look at letter C.
Yes.
Request by the City of Franklin resident, Sue, to reserve addition during times previously approved by Recreation Department league play due to additional need/overflow. Previous approved dates for the spring/summer 22 programs are Monday through Thursday
Wrote on
evenings,
the wrong page.
5:30 to 8.
5 to 8. It should be 5 to 8. 5 to 8.
Okay. April 18th through June 16th, and June 27th through August 18th. And Saturday mornings at 9 a.m. to 11:30 a.m., April 23rd through June 18th, and June 25th through August 20th. 5th through August 20th.
So the reason that last year they painted the courts probably early fall, and the reason they allowed that was because, well, there wasn't any, at that time, the bid came up way too high for Pleasant View. Plus initially, you all approved, which was great, 8 courts at Pleasant View. It got to planning, it went down to 6. It got to council, it went down to 4. Pickleball players, once again, they play together. They don't scatter. So, and I think that's great. I didn't even know until last week that they were doing that court at Pleasant View. I didn't know they started it. I know I told one of the council people that if they were putting in 4, they might as well not put in any, because we need 8 together. We play at Lions 2 right now, and we really need the lower court that we can say, hey, this is the court reserved for us when rec play is in play. Because there are the people that want to play. The sport is getting so popular, and there's 3 tennis courts right around the corner. At 15 people, 20 people that are waiting to play would seem that should take precedent over 2 people hitting a ball where they have the courts around the corner, because this is a group that is playing together, signed up. And it doesn't happen all the time, but it does happen sometimes. And when they're not there, so we'll set the nets up. As soon as people start leaving, you know, some people only come for an hour, hour and a half to play. As soon as we don't need those courts, we take the nets down right away so somebody can come in and play. We take the nets down right away so somebody can come in and play, you know, after us.
What do you mean by around the corner?
Right here, Lions 1, there's 3 tennis courts right there.
Okay.
Yeah. And no one plays there half the time. No one plays there half the time, every time I go by. But I can tell you, like tonight, was our Learn to Play night. We had 49 people that want to learn to play pickleball, that came to learn to play pickleball. It's just very popular.
I guess I want to be clear what it is you're asking. Are you asking to bump the rec tennis program?
No.
So I'm trying to figure out where you're looking to
I'm
add hours
asking
and times.
that for somebody, that there's a program, but we have the rec, and we have 15, 20 people waiting to play pickleball. The reason they striped those courts was for overflow, so we could accommodate the people, but we can't accommodate them if there's tennis players there. And it's a formal group that signed up, you know, through the rec department to play.
So are you looking to add additional dates to your original request? Or
I'm asking if there's tennis players.
Or times.
I'm asking if there's tennis players there, we can say, hey, the courts are reserved for pickleball tonight.
So you're looking to add an additional court to your permit?
I guess, if that's how you want to say it, yeah.
Okay.
Because we need them. We need them.
Okay.
And I have to say, you all know that CBS 58 was here last week for Kim. I emailed them to come. And she even played, and she loved it. I'm asking for more. I'm asking for the courts.
So you're asking to have the additional court reserved Monday through Thursday evenings from 5 to 8 and Saturday mornings from 9 to 11:30.
If there's, yes, yes. Because if we get there, yes, yes. Because if we get there first, we put the nets up right away already. But if they're there, we can't say you have, they're reserved.
So if anybody just showed up to play, would they be able to play pickleball on those courts where you guys are at?
Not unless they're signed up during those times. They
Okay.
have to be signed up because it's,
Could they join at that moment, or do they have to register and pay?
well, we
ahead of
always
time?
let everybody play once for free, but after that, they have to join the program.
And where do they go to sign
The
up?
rec department,
At high school?
yeah, yeah. $10 for residents, 15 for non. And that, actually, that was something, because I know that the park and rec is separate. And I don't know, it would seem that it would be somehow, the volunteers run the program, really. They put the stuff in the book. They send the emails out to the people and they take the money, but it's a new program since 2018. I don't know why the park and rec couldn't work together that you all could get half the money. Why the park and rec couldn't work together that you all could get half the money for some of the stuff that we asked for. I mean, I don't like coming to ask for money. I know, but I know it's something that's really needed. It's very popular. More and more people are playing. You want it to look nice. You want it to be nice. It just would seem, and I mean, the city could do tournaments and make money. I mean, it would be fairly simple to have dates, and I mean, you guys could make, I think $1,000 is a lot of money. $2,000 you could make doing some type of tournaments.
If I could ask, do they supply anything, rec department?
No,
No.
no. I mean, they're real nice. I'm not dogging them or anything. I'm just saying they have really we run the program. We're the ones that are there with all the players. We teach them how to play. We teach them how to rotate. We do all that stuff. They put it in the book. They take the registration. They take the money. But I don't know why you all couldn't work out some kind of deal to get half. They're probably making $6,000 or so. And now in the winter, that's different because we play indoor at the middle school, and I think it does cost more, but that's because there's a janitor that has to be in the building. So, but outdoor, nobody's. It's a volunteer that's there.
I think that's a discussion that should happen down the road.
I was just going to say, I think that, to be honest, if this is a rec department program, the request should come from the rec department for additional courts and for additional time.
I don't know that they would do that. I mean, I can ask her. I'm here on behalf of all the players
Sure.
that want to play, and they want more courts together. They want more courts together.
Right.
If they could turn that other tennis court into a pickleball court, have the 8 together, I mean, we'd be happy, but yeah.
I've been on this commission for 9 years now, and this has been an ongoing issue for 9 years. I don't know why we can't get it solved and get these people satisfied. We come up with a plan and think it's going to work out, and then somebody else writes it off, and we're going back and forth on this for years. It's ridiculous. And there's so many people involved, more so than in any other use of the parks.
It's probably the most used activity on the courts in the city. And, I mean, there's people, you can get people, we have a WhatsApp with people on it. You can say anybody up for playing, and you'll get 30 players up there, in an afternoon. There's 81 players signed up for social, and there's 64 signed up for semi-competitive starting this week. And we had 49 that came tonight that wanted to learn to play, that went through that tonight. Some of them probably won't be able to sign up because just there's space for that many people, So,
Well, it solves like one additional court isn't going to solve the problems or the needs.
but it solves our problem now because they're striped for 4 courts in there. So if we're allowed to they're striped for 4 courts in there. So if we're allowed to use that, we have 4 additional courts we can use. Because they're striped for 4 pickleball courts you can do in 1 tennis court. And so they're already striped, so it will help us with that. So
then how many pickleball courts would that give you total at
8.
that complex?
8.
That would give you 8 at Legend 2.
At Pleasant View?
Legend 2.
2.
So there's only 1 court there that is currently striped for pickleball?
4 courts are striped on 1 tennis court,
Sure.
yes. And then the other one is a permanent pickleball court, 4 permanent pickleball courts on the other court. They made it into.
We have 4 dedicated pickleball courts, and then they use the tennis court to put 4 more portable nets that are striped for
Players. So 16 players can play at a time on.
Okay.
So you have 4 courts that are that are already reserved, from 5 to 8, Monday through Thursday, and the Saturday morning. So what you're asking, because the other court is not officially reserved, the other
Correct.
4,
Correct.
and you're just using that as sort of a first come first, serve sort of thing. So, but you're just asking for both sets
Yeah.
of courts
Right.
to be reserved.
That way we can say, because otherwise we have to wait till they're gone. This way we can say these courts are reserved. These courts are reserved.
What's the ETA for the Pleasant View courts to be done? August?
August.
Okay.
Are those other tennis courts still striped up there?
Yep. Currently,
4 or 3? So if we would want to switch once, would the rec department or whatever would have to come and reserve those, and then we wouldn't, although I really like this location.
And I'm not necessarily opposed to adding that second complex of courts to the reservation each evening. My question in terms of when the new courts at Pleasant View would be open is, where would we send other people, that aren't a part of the program to be able to play? I mean, we can send tennis players over here to Legend 1. But it's a matter of just keeping availability open,
Kinwindle has striping. Doesn't any others? They have striping.
All right, well, let's take a vote on this. We're spending a lot of time on this topic here. I feel like Mary said earlier, we seem to have this on every agenda, and I know it's popular. It's turned down. So we've tried. But I guess all in favor of allowing them to have the additional court?
Can I make a motion?
Sorry, we need to make a motion.
I'll go ahead and make a motion to allow them to add the second complex of courts to their, standing reservation.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Anybody opposed? Excellent, the ayes have it.
I had sent Marion some other things that she didn't have on. I had sent Marion some other things that she didn't have on the agenda. It'd only take 5 minutes if I could.
Can we just add it to the next agenda? We've got a full list of stuff for tonight.
Well, it is kind of under D, the maintenance and amenities.
Oh, I guess it was, well, one was a canopy. It would mainly be morning, but they brought like a canopy and they had secured it to the nets, to the fences between the two courts for the sun,
Who is they?
the pickleball players. They only did it once. And it was because we play between the two courts is where we set canopy for the sun, and they were wondering if that was okay to do it. Because I said, I don't think you should do that unless we go through the parks.
I personally think that attaching anything to a fence would cause liability issues.
Okay.
I would recommend maybe bringing a pop-up tent or two.
Okay, yeah, we thought about that. And then the other thing was about wondering if we could get that lockbox moved from the south end of the court to the northwest side of the court.
The lockbox, I think it's probably gonna have to stay where it is just because of the slopes on the other side. And also where it is just because of the slopes on the other side. And also, I did get a couple complaints regarding all the congregating between them.
Uh-huh.
So we kind of would prefer everybody on that south end
Yeah, but,
because it's just getting too many people in there, and the picnic tables shouldn't even be on that slope either. Because if somebody trips or something, it's the,
well, we moved it down. Somebody moved it up. We moved it down to the lower part. Somebody moved it back up.
right, we don't want nothing near the trail. We don't, somebody's riding a bike or walking and then they go into somebody or something. We have to worry about the liability and the safety issues.
Okay.
So,
Other thing about amenities, those snow fences, the kids are going in there and they're tearing them and they're a hazard. I don't know what else, if something could be made, but somebody told me they saw a kid cutting and, you know where I'm talking.
yeah,
True.
it's vandalism and there's nothing we're gonna, it's terrible in the parks right now. It's happening with vandalism.
Yeah, what is that all about? Yeah. Crazy.
Wish I had the answer.
Okay, all right,
Excellent, thank you.
okay, all right.
Excellent, thank you.
So, for the record, deny canopy, deny moving tables, and what was the third thing?
The lockbox.
Moving the lockbox.
Deny moving lock boxes? An emotion?
Do we need
An emotion?
a motion on that one?
A motion on, I don't think we
We're
do.
on discussion.
That was just discussion.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
I guess while we're on new agendas, we'll take a look at E. Request by Danny Erickson in Kestrel Nesting Box in Pleasant View Park. I don't think Danny is with us today.
So there was something in your packet regarding this issue. Staff has looked at it and nice idea. Issue is, what is your policy on allowing people to put things in your park? It comes back to that almost every meeting. It's probably something that should be discussed. I understand that it was in your previous packet, so it was, I was going to have a presentation here tonight, but it wasn't prepared for me, so, I was going to have a presentation here tonight, but it wasn't prepared for me, so, I don't believe you've adopted a policy yet.
No, we haven't.
Which is an unfinished business going on.
I would suggest maybe that might be a first item of discussion before the Kestrels. I would suggest maybe that might be a first item of discussion before the Kestrels.
I guess we will hold this one over until, for later discussion.
Table.
I guess we'll continue with the new items while we're here. Letter B, parks and marketing materials, including maps, pamphlets, etc.
Letter B.
B.
I haven't heard anything from the city with regards to those things yet.
So I guess we will table this one until we get some feedback from the city on that.
Yeah. So I can't do anything.
I mean, we can jump on letter F right away. Discussion of comprehensive master plan, future land use map designations of natural resources and recreational uses.
If I may, this was put on the agenda at my request. And primarily what I wanted to point out, and primarily what I wanted to point out, and this is more just for the personal reference of everyone on the commission, because I was interested in knowing, as we've had a lot of discussion recently, what talking about potential purchases of parkland, and I wanted to know what other private properties we had in the city that were designated as recreational or conservancy. So Marion very graciously asked our GIS department to put those together for us so that we can just, I would ask to keep that on file and take some time to look and see, some of these green, they're going to come up again. If somebody decides that they want to sell for possible development, and just knowing ahead of time if this could be an issue, or if these are some properties that we would recommend that the city want to purchase for conservancy and parkland down the road. So,
Okay,
for conservancy and parkland down the road. So,
okay.
How can we get bigger copies of this, or a PDF we can zoom in, or? Is that doable, lunch?
Yeah, I can have 11 by 17 copies.
Thank you.
even like this size, I think, it would probably be helpful.
Yeah,
Even like this size, I think, it would probably be helpful.
yeah, just to,
You're right,
be able to zoom
yeah.
in and out a little bit more.
Fantastic. So I guess there's no action on that. We will jump over to the unfinished business. Letter A, update on parks maintenance.
Dale?
Can you hear me? Hello? In general, I guess the rentals are going okay, except for I guess the time change has caused a couple problems. People don't want to get out by 8 o'clock. Ann's been dealing with that a little bit, and Kevin's been dealing. I don't see it. I don't deal with dealing with that a little bit, and Kevin's been dealing. I don't see it. I don't deal with the people too much. So, but cleaning up by 8 o'clock when it's still light out, it seems like the people don't want to leave always. So we're kind of working on that. Baseball fields, we're kind of working on that. Baseball fields, apparently the Little League, they don't let their teams practice on their fields this year anymore, so they're coming over to our fields, which aren't in the best of shape, but we're trying to deal with that the best we can. Grass cutting, I think the guys are doing a good job cutting the grass in the parks and in the city hall and the library and places like that too. Looking real nice this year. So specific parks, Franklin Woods, tracks are coming again, and I'm crossing my fingers we can get through the year and hopefully replace the floor next year if it stays in the budget. So trying to keep that going. With this recent storm, the trail in the woods, there's some trees down. I think we got that in Sherry next weekend, so we'll have that in good shape. Legend, we're cleaning up that for the 4th. storm damage again. I mean, not really damage, but a lot of branches down. This issue there. Legend 2, there's been a lot of pickleball, and I guess one thing that wasn't brought up was with the canopy and where they're kind of setting up shop is between the the tennis court and the pickleball courts, and people have a hard time there because there's so many people congregating, and it's kind of intimidating. So I don't, like Kevin was saying, maybe that wasn't such a good idea to let them. Well, I don't know if we let them, but they kind of took over between the courts there. So
So I got tennis courts are currently at Lions Legend 2.
1.
And how many striped pickleball courts are there?
There's 4 dedicated, and on that one tennis court, there's 4 for portable nets.
So they can have 8 courts going at once. To Lions Legend 1, where there are 3 tennis courts, which according to them would make 12 pickleball courts for the
Well,
future.
That was the next thing I was going to bring up is since they already have 4, should you guys consider converting that other tennis court at Legend 2? But if you would consider the 3 tennis courts at Legend 1 they got really big cracks in them.
Okay.
I didn't fill them last year because we ran out of time, and
Yeah.
they're really wide. So if we want to fix that, we're going to have to get a machine in there and crack seal them.
Okay.
Those are in bad shape. But the other thing I brought up was converting the tennis court at Legend 2 to 4 pickleball courts, but then you'd have to kind of fix up that court before you did that too. So, I mean, you'd have to kind of fix up that court before you did that too. So, I mean, everywhere you look, there's a cracked tennis court or
Sure.
court.
So
So,
it seems to be, if we gave them 12 courts, I think they would come back and ask for 16 because their group
Where do you
keeps
draw the
growing and
line?
growing. Yeah, well, sooner or later, as their group
Where do you
keeps
draw the
growing and
line?
growing. Yeah, well, sooner or later, it's going to need a massive complex, and as of right now, the city doesn't have the money for that. And I don't know what they pay in permits or fees for the rec department, but I would think the rec department could make a request to add it, but that's just me.
That's why I
Or the
brought
school
that up earlier.
district could possibly include that in all of their new field work that they're going to be planning near the middle school. You know, it is a much bigger picture discussion.
It is. And I feel bad because she comes, but we don't have anything to give. And I can tell she's frustrated. And yeah.
the biggest things in the parks are Kayla's playground, pickleball, and dog walkers. That's what I see.
Yeah.
And I mean, so.
How many courts are going on at the Rock, do you know? Because they're building pickleball at the Rock.
Of course,
part of
that's
the
going to
whole-
be a
That'll be
fee.
a four, yeah.
Chicken and pickle, I don't know.
The
I
chicken
don't
and
know how
pickle
many.
hot dog is there.
Pick and chicken.
I want to say 12, but I could be wrong.
Yeah,
12, but I could be wrong.
but yeah, those won't be cheap.
No,
But another option.
it's an option. What do you guys charge to rent a baseball diamond for a practice permit? Do you guys know offhand?
$6.
$6 to rent it for a practice? And do you guys spike it and drag it for a practice, or?
Well, Dale tries to get out there. One of the guys will try to get out there once a week, once every other week.
Okay.
It's strictly as we got time.
Sure.
And sometimes it goes weeks,
Okay.
especially with
We don't,
the weather.
I'll admit we don't do a good job of keeping those.
I get it.
We never stripe them, but, I mean, all the tennis courts, I should say, all the tennis courts, all the baseball fields, they're kind of original. And really, the baseball fields besides the one at Pleasant View, they all need to be redone. And, I mean, sure, we probably could do it, but it would take so much of our time that we don't have. I mean, we got to maintain. So, a total redo of four baseball fields. We have 5 and one's good, so 4 baseball fields.
Talking about $50,000. It's about 12 to 12 and a half for each for a softball field to have them redone. But
Just so everybody knows, this year, the Franklin Little League on 76th Street is no longer allowing their teams to practice there. So now they're coming onto our fields and renting, so every night they're booked solid,
Wow.
and it's gotten to be quite the,
And sometimes I don't have time to go to them all. I can catch those too quick, and then by the end of the day, I'll get back to the shop and there's 2 more rentals at other fields. So I was like, no, you can't win. I mean, it's they sign up quick, and
Speaking from experience, I wouldn't kill yourself for them. 13 years, president is 4, back in like 2005. They have equipment probably just as good as you guys, some of the Gravely's and John Deere tractors and spike drags and chalk line. We went through the same thing. I won't babble too much, but the field maintenance guy was in such love with his work. The field maintenance guy was in such love with his work, he wouldn't let us practice. And we finally just, as a board, put our foot down and said, it's a little league, and back then we had 1,000 kids. We're going to practice on the fields. And we'll hire more kids to help you and all that. So appreciate what you're doing, but I
tried to have a discussion, I did have a discussion with the Little League president, and he wasn't budging at all. We're going to send our people there, and that's it.
That's a shame.
So I think this winter, we're going to have
That's
to
a
have a
concern.
discussion about it.
Yeah.
That is a concern.
or raise your fees quick.
Future budget, or agenda item for discussion. A slightly related question, have you been able to fill the labor position that you had open, that advertised this year?
No,
You haven't yet? Oh,
What are you guys paying for that?
21.
21.
and that's
plus
full-time with
benefits.
benefits
Wow.
and foot in the door with the WPS system.
If you know of anybody, send them our way.
How's the new operator?
Good, thank you.
No problem.
Sorry.
I didn't get this all straight. You said the Little League used to practice on 76th Street, and now they're moving to the park fields. Why? What happened there?
They want to keep their field strictly for true games so that they're in pristine condition.
Oh,
And that's right from them that they told me that. I tried to tell him that we just can't. I mean, I think there was a huge amount of teams, he said it was. We're trying to accommodate them, but it's,
personally, I don't care that they're renting them. But we have fields, we should be using them, but I just can't keep up. I mean, it's just what it
Right.
is. So.
well, and we don't have the
Sand pros.
equipment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We just don't.
So, and then Ken Wendell, the tennis lessons seem to be working out real well. The parents set up shop right kind of west of the courts there, and it looks like it's working real well there. Pleasant View with the construction issues. I mean, there are some issues. They tore out the paths so people couldn't walk to the pavilion, but now they got concrete poured, so now it's a little bit better. So hopefully that'll get better going forward. So, any other questions? Wait, that's it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I guess we'll go with letter B, uniform signage for all parks. Signage for all parks.
I'm told the mayor is talking to the sign company and gave an ultimatum that they redo them, or we'll just send the signs back and we'll hire somebody else to do it. So I don't think that's come to a resolution yet.
I tried to get in touch with them today, and they wouldn't call me back, so.
Looks like we may be for option 2.
Yeah, it's frustrating.
I think that's been on the agenda since I joined.
Goes on.
Since I've been elected.
Yeah. We will jump to letter C. 2022-2023 budget. Parks Commission request for information on personnel additions, capital outlay fund needs, equipment revolving fund needs, street insurers to be made with borrowed funds.
I believe she put something in your packet regarding the budget. So you can see the budget as was proposed last year as far as putting things out. So off the top, number one, you see Kayla's Playground wasn't anticipated to be replaced until 2024. So the question is when you look when you look down that list, what are some things that you look at and say, we don't need that anymore? Do you see things that should be moved around on the year schedule? You don't have to approve anything this month, but we at least want to get the conversation going. Important to have some decisions made so we can put that in the budget and start working through the budget issues.
Is your microphone on?
What's that?
Is your microphone on?
Yes. I'm sorry, can you not hear me?
No, I can't. I'm having trouble.
If you turn your mic off, you can hear back on whenever. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yeah, so turn it back on when you speak.
Okay.
But if you turn it off when you're not speaking, you can hear me.
So we're looking at things for the 2023 budget or in the future that if we feel they no longer belong.
Right. So are there things on your list, 1 through 17, plus a couple that you might want to scratch from the list? Are there other things that you may want to move around on the list? So, for example, again, Kayla's, if you should feel that's necessary for next year, would you rather move it to 2023, or you feel that's necessary for next year, would you rather move it to 2023, or leave it in 24, or possibly 25 or 26, and so forth?
And there are a few of these that we will have completed. So like the ice rink, that's done, correct? Citywide park signage should be done by then?
So ice rink is done, and I guess I would suggest to you that see how this winter goes. You may want to maybe purchase an additional one. There's some thoughts that maybe this wasn't as large as you'd like to have. And what was the other thing?
Our citywide park signage,
Yeah,
that'll be pretty well complete.
presumably that'll be done here soon. Chuckle. And you could, how they got funded for 22. So the baseball grooming machine, that was one of your priorities, number 8, but it was not funded at all. As an example. I don't believe, actually that was, and keep in mind a couple months ago we had a discussion on things you might consider giving up for a large park expenditure.
Yeah.
And I believe that was on that list. One thing, just to let you know, I did it to my staff, asking them, based on the idea that we could put this mat down and then pave 1.5 inches over it, what would that cost for every court? So by next month, I'd like to give you a chart showing this park has this court that could handle this many tennis courts, this many pickleball courts, and it would cost this much to overlay.
Sure.
But again, it'd be a nice Band-Aid, but that would still be a Band-Aid. But that would still be a Band-Aid.
Excellent. Well, thank you. Anybody have any questions on that? So we got a little homework for next time. We'll move to letter D, park amenity.
I understand this was in your packet a few months ago, so I do not have a copy of it in front of me.
I think is that what we talked about last time? Yeah, so I have copies for everybody. It's,
Because you kind of took my rough,
and there was only a couple correction. It was instead of calling it legacy trees to call it commemorative trees. So I changed it throughout the document. And that was pretty much it on that form. I did include the new park bench. I went there and took a picture. So it's an actual park bench. I took a picture. So it's an actual park bench. So I don't know what you want me to do with this after.
you want to,
This is something that we would recommend. This is something that we would recommend moving forward to council to approve, or,
Or to review it.
yeah, or to
yeah,
review.
I think it would be nice to forward to council as, for discussion, give them the opportunity to comment, and then if we wanted to make any changes, amendments, whatever, deletions, then we could do that and then make a formal recommendation to council for adoption.
Can people,
I believe so, yes.
they can handle that then? Okay. Because a lot of stuff that
Let's double check with the treasurer's office, because I know that we can take tax payments and, sewer bill payments and things like that on a
Right,
credit card.
right.
But, in terms of,
easy to do that nowadays, yeah.
I'm not aware that we can do that for typical city issues.
no,
And for the utilities, it's a little separate than the city.
yeah,
Right.
that's why I'm thinking that,
Yeah,
better
so that might be something you might need to look into, because I wasn't sure.
So we would need probably a motion to send this to council for review.
I will move that we send the park amenities and donation policy draft to common council for review and comment.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Excellent, the ayes have it.
There was one thing that I had on, that with the donations and stuff like that. But maybe it was more so the stuff like that. But maybe it was more so the tree one. I think that's something different. You know how Kenosha, they had that issue where someone wanted to buy a tree or something, but someone had passed away during one of their events or whatever, and the girl, one of their events or whatever, and the girlfriend wanted to do a tree, and they refused her the tree and stuff. We don't have anything where we can say that we're refusing a donation. Did we ever want to look at something like, do you know what I'm talking about? So it was a big thing in Kenosha.
I don't remember hearing that.
Yeah. All right, well, whatever. So this doesn't include the tree one, because we didn't really discuss that either.
So we probably need input from the arborist on that as well,
Yeah.
species.
Okay.
How would this apply towards, say, bird boxes, Kestrel? Kestrel.
Well, it would be a donation, you mean for this one, this group?
Yeah, as an example, if this one were to come after
Right.
policies in effect, how
Well,
would
I
the...
think we have it under like special things. Let's see. Other unique amenities, so that would apply towards that, I would say.
Yeah,
So that would apply towards that, I would say.
yeah, other park furnishings.
Right. Because they're donating them pretty much, right?
Well, they're also intending to maintain them,
Right,
I believe, and because it's part of intending to maintain them,
right.
I believe, and because it's part of a
It's really a
formal
neat
research
program.
project.
It's kind of a nice program that they want to do here.
person who started that whole program is from Franklin. He lived on Ryan Road.
Really?
Oh, neat.
I think he's put them all up in Milwaukee too.
So
So I guess if it's a donation with their stuff and they're doing it like this research thing, they could just fill out a form that's like this and just say, this is what we want to do, and we'd have to approve it or not approve it.
So we have had an emphasis. So when people work in our right of way, making sure there's proper liability insurance. We are very strict on the adopt a highway. We make sure that we see that they're covered by some sort of insurance in case they were to get injured or whatever, in this regard. So I would suggest to you that in the situation of the Kestrel as an example, where you're expecting people to come out and work on your property, our insurance carrier may have an opinion.
Sure.
Okay.
Question. Some of the land surround,
Some parks, yes.
but where is there MMSD land?
So at Pleasant View, the right next door is actually owned by MMSD.
Yeah. So why don't we just send them to MMSD and let them put it on that property?
If that's your wish.
I don't know. I just, is that a way around it? I don't know. I'm just kind of tossing it out.
Because aren't we, isn't it maintenance our responsibility?
I read the Kestrel that they were going to come maintain them. If we would maintain it, then insurance would not be an issue, and this policy would be more applicable.
Sure.
But if you're expecting them to come out and do the maintenance
Right.
at night,
And that's my understanding. Right.
at night,
And that's my understanding from the write-up, is that they would maintain everything, build everything, they just want the real estate and to place it on, so,
I
then
think
the
we-
insurance.
if you put it on MMSD lands, then you just send them to MMSD. If you put it on our lands, then MMSD shouldn't have anything to say about it.
But if we just scoot them over a few feet and say, go, maybe apply to MMSD, and maybe MMSD would be able to handle it with their insurance policy issues.
Expect there's going to be insurance issues regardless of which entity you send them to.
I wonder how they've dealt with it in other communities where they put these
Yeah,
boxes.
because I see these poles as climbing poles.
Well, and that's it, and it looks like it's pretty
Oh,
high
they're-
up off
they're
of
up
the
there.
ground.
Yeah, they have to be high.
That's
Well, how
gonna
deep-
be a-
It looks like it's pretty
Oh,
high
they're-
up off
they're
of
up
the
there.
ground.
Yeah, they have to be high.
that's
Well, how
gonna
deep
be
do
a-
they go into the ground then, too?
And so if a big wind comes up, as we've recently seen,
Yep, I see some heavy liability there. See kids up on top falling. There, see kids up on top falling.
I don't believe we've done this, but if it's the park's desire, we can send this to our insurance representative for a comment.
I would be interested in comment from insurance.
So that's a motion to table pending insurance comments. And
I
Bring it
would
back.
move to table pending insurance comment. And I think it's just kind of good to have, and knowing going forward if we have other similar requests.
Okay, are we back to the whole Kestrel thing?
yes,
Okay, and you're making a motion?
Yes, I move to table pending an opinion from
Our insurance.
our insurance carrier.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? The ayes have it. We will then jump into letter E. recommendation to the common council to pursue the purchase of parkland adjacent to the western boundary of the Franklin-Savannah State Natural Area on West Oakwood. The Parks Commission may enter a closed session pursuant to Wisconsin statute for market competition and bargaining reasons to consider the potential acquisition of property to be used for public park purposes in the city and to re-enter open session at the same place thereafter to act on such matters discussed therein as it deems appropriate.
Already do this?
Is there an update to be given?
I would suggest to you that there's not much of an update, and you might be encouraged to skip it this time.
Sounds great. We will move to letter F. Update relative to the request by City of Franklin resident, former Alderman Dan Mayer, to install a flagpole in Market Square Park.
Just as an update, the sidewalk will proceed. Has there been a date? Is there a date on the sidewalk? No. Common Council did authorize $4,500 for a flagpole and benches.
Nice. And we'll jump to letter G. Review of Ryan Creek Trail Master Plan, draft produced by Grafe Engineering. Review of Ryan Creek Trail Master Plan, draft produced by Grafe Engineering and Design Consulting Firm.
So you last saw maps in January, and with the direction that you liked the routes, we encourage Grave to bring closure to the routes. We encourage Grave to bring closure to this project. I'm taking this to Common Council tomorrow night for adoption of the plan, and so I'm looking for direction from you, whether you would make a motion to recommend or. For the most part, these are the same maps you saw in January. They added some text to it to kind of describe what you're looking at. Probably the big difference is the fact that we don't call this a master plan. We just call it a plan now. There was discussion on some other issues that perhaps master plan might input is needed, and so we're just going to call this a plan. So if you, this is included in your packet. Again, the project overview looked at basically the southern part of the city, referenced the existing corp. These projects were in the corp. These projects were in the corp. And again, you've seen these maps. It's really just now there's a paragraph accompanying each map. For reference, it's not on your agenda, but I have given you tonight a version of a map. This map was basically from the court plan, but we've added a few solid lines to show you where pathways are pretty much going. So this map that I'll be giving to Common Council, again, not an agenda item, but I'm just giving it to them for their reference. Shows where all the projects are. The Ryan Creek Trail is now shown on this overall master plan. I'm sorry, plan, not master plan. And so that just kind of gives you an idea of how this fits. I guess I'm willing to answer questions that you've seen on these maps before. If you remember, there's the primary path. There's secondary paths that connect to the primary path. And then there's the tertiary paths. So there's some illustrations as to what each of those paths represent. The recommendations are the same as you've seen before. I'm willing to help answer questions. I don't know what questions you may have. But pending tonight, I'd appreciate a recommendation to Common Council. Approve, deny, or alter as appropriate. To Common Council. Approve, deny, or alter as appropriate.
Does anybody have any comments on this at all?
I don't have any questions, but I just want to say I think it looks outstanding, and it's not a whole lot different from the January plan, not
Nope.
the M word plan. I'm all for it. I think we should recommend to proceed as is.
So are you making a motion?
Yeah, I'll make that motion pending if anybody else has questions beforehand. Otherwise,
I do not have any questions. Nice job.
we've taken the common council for adoption, as is, no changes to the current plan.
Then I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? The ayes have it.
I think it's great stuff.
The ayes have it.
I think it's great stuff.
Yeah, nice job, Glenn.
Except the price tag.
So a related issue, just to let you know that last meeting, or maybe 2 meetings ago, Common Council authorized staff to start negotiation with the school. For Common Council authorized staff to start negotiation with the school for a pathway across what most people call the Archdiocese property, but that is part of the Ryan Creek Trail. So that will appear tomorrow night on the agenda. I take it back. That might be discussed tomorrow night as part of this. For those of you who don't know, it would be a trail that, let me go back, between so here's the split between Ryan Road and St. Martin's. DL would, I think there's a better picture. Trail basically does this part in here, so that would complete this part of the trail. The school owns the property, and we've, at least verbally with staff, have had an idea that they would be agreeable to this. We just need to formalize an agreement and proceed with design. Proceed with design.
So it's down in the woods?
Yeah, so I thought there was a better picture. Yeah, that somewhat shows. So there's the Ryan Creek. Yeah, that somewhat shows. So there's the Ryan Creek does something like this, actually. So the school property is about in here. So this trail would probably be shoved up a little bit further north, but it would come in something like that, come up on the 80th Street cul-de-sac. It's right there beside DPW, Binzurin.
So there's only the one bridge then, huh? It's not going over the...
I'm not saying there's actually several bridges indicated there, so it didn't start doing the design. The idea was we didn't want to start doing the design, and if you recall, your committee had a subcommittee to help review proposals, and Grave was selected as the most appropriate firm to do this work. They have not started the work. The idea was, let's not start, and so that's why we're negotiating with the school. Once that happens, then we'll start looking at how many boardwalks, bridges, and et cetera might be needed.
Yes.
A related, going back to a previous agenda item, as we're looking of this plan, and looking at the estimated costs, keep that in mind as you're kind of doing homework for the next meeting and plugging in numbers for the future capital improvement budgeting. And where you would maybe personally want to put that on your rankings, or because I don't know that our capital improvement plan at this point reflects what might be the actual cost of this at full build out. So that's going to maybe be something that we just want to keep in the back of our minds and start thinking about how we could get that done.
Excellent. Taking a look at a calendar, it looks like our next meeting would be July 11th.
And what items would you like to bring forward to the next, the Little League fence, fields rentals for practice? I think I heard that is possibly a new one. I heard the budget issues.
Yep.
And
The parkland may be an item for discussion next time.
And if we have feedback about the Kestrel.
And throw in there more pickleball courts when you got it.
Yeah.
I'm kidding, I'm sorry.
Maybe, it might be appropriate to rehab of existing courts. I think I should have that ready.
yeah, I think that'd be good.
Yeah, we talked about that. Yeah, because, yep, we tabled it for next time.
What about St. Martin's? Any updates on that?
St. Martin's Trail, 116th Street Trail. I could give you just an update on the trail system. I can give you an update.
Awesome.
St. Martin's and other trails. Update.
Excellent. Then I guess we need a motion to shut her down.
I'll motion to adjourn.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Excellent. The ayes have it. We'll see you guys in a month.
Okay.